When I first saw the name of this game, it intrigued me. Weird gun game. How about that, I said to myself, a game that's weird with the focus on firearms. Now that's my kind of title. That sounds like a game I want to play. It seemed right up my alley, but I wasn't sure what to expect at first. I thought it'd be like Item Asylum with a strange assortment of bullet tossers you'd get to play with pre-built, but to my surprise it was more of a combo fighter. But instead of putting in a series of inputs to throw a fireball, you were smashing together random gun components to create something new, and possibly terrifying or useless. The first thing I did was try and figure out how to make a shotgun. I love shotguns. I have a deep loyalty to the double barrel in any game that it's featured in particular. I was a little sad that it didn't seem to be an option, but it had a few of my other favorites, notably the rest of the shotgun class variety had plenty of old friends on display. The way it seemed to work is that there was a way, more or less, to build a whole gun. You could buy every part of the Remington, put it together, and play with a Remington. Or you could use a Remington's magazine, slap it into an M16 to make an automatic shotgun. Or you could take an M16's magazine, slap it into a Lee Enfield, and try your best at an automatic battle rifle. And if you get really creative, you unlock all these gun parts. You can combine them all. The name of the game is Weird Gun Game, but in practice you're playing Frankenstein's firearms, creating your own monsters of glued together bits and pieces, firing things that look like they came straight out of a foreign comic where the mangaka didn't really know how guns work. It's the exact way that parts fit together is interesting. On a base level, each part has its own stats, which are usually dependent on your weapon's core. For example, every shotgun core adds pellets, which are its own number, defaulting to 0. If you have no pellets, your gun won't be a shotgun. If you had a core that adds pellets, no matter what else you stick on your gun, it would be a shotgun. You can have a shotgun core, put a bunch of sniper parts on it, and you got a sniper shotgun. But shotgun magazines also give pellets, so you don't need a shotgun core to make a shotgun technically. I can make this sniper rifle shoot pellets, I can make this LMG shoot pellets and turn it into a chainsaw. Honestly, a lot of the combinations you can put together are comically obnoxious at times, but it's just as possible to make a barely functional piece of garbage gun with awful stat combos that deals no damage and is impossible to use. The gameplay loop is fairly simple, but always fun. It's constant experimentation. Even at a stage where you've unlocked enough gun parts to make a modern-day arms dealer blush, you still have to figure out how to put them together in order to make a gun that feels good to use and is both competitively viable, actually effective. You can see every part that's available to unlock, and usually after every game, you make enough of the in-game currency to buy one or two parts. You might have to grind a little bit more for the expensive ones, but it doesn't feel overdone. It seems more or less to be fairly paced grind, series of progression, especially if you pick up the double points game pass, which I did because, you know. And on top of the normal gun parts, there's a number of weird parts, quote-unquote, which you can buy with the special currency. And as an aside, I know that we're scared of secondary currencies in Roblox games, same as mobile games, every Facebook game. Microtransactions exist, but you get enough from winning a single grind that the grind still feels fair, even for the quote-unquote special currency. These weird parts are gimmicky, funny, some are useful, some are a joke. Consider the stat randomizer core, which literally has you pull a slot machine after every shot to determine the damage, recoil, and other stats of your gun. Make a gun that's just words, use a lawn chair as a sight, banana grip, so on and so forth. The game obviously lets you build some silly what's-it-do's-it contraptions. I appreciate the game more for letting me personally build and customize the kinds of guns I like to use in video games. You can't directly create a pistol, but you can use a pistol grip from the weird parts section to create a veritable hand cannon. I can create my very accurate, pseudo-realistic shotgun that works at a range. You can max fire rate and damage to create the most LMG-like machine gun possible and go full heaviest weapon, or you can use a fish. My favorite part about the game isn't just how the parts interact with each other in terms of weapon scaling and stats, but how they can functionally combine to create what appears to be a firearm. The animations are impressive. Your character will typically hold the gun in a way that appears right, regardless of what you've managed to slap together. You will always reload the gun in a way that kind of makes sense, even if you put a shotgun magazine in an assault rifle. It's not perfect, but it's good enough, and it's a lot better than just recycling bog standard animations. It's a little bit generative in a way. It's obviously easy enough to make a nonsensical weapon that's hard to make look right, but even if you're just trying to make a gun that looks cool, feels good to use, your experimentation is rewarded not just with performance, but with polished animations and sleek gameplay. And your gun can truly be yours. The core of your gun determines the base functionality, but the barrel of your gun can determine how it sounds. Any gun can be a sniper, any gun can be a shotgun, they can sound how you want, and then you can paint it however you want and slap a charm on it. I'm not easily impressed, but the game is easily impressive. It's novel, and it really speaks to the type of person who would like a game like this, in the sense that there's no other game like it on Roblox, at least not that I've seen. It's not a derivative copy of another game that exists on some other website or whatever. It's a fun, unique idea that works well. Ever since I played Dead Rising on the Xbox as a wee lad, I've been enamored with the idea of slapping random things together and making something else. Homestuck's Alchemitor and item combos only cemented that love of slapping things together later in my life. Now I can play Weird Gun Game. I can take all the parts of my favorite guns and turn them into a new favorite gun that literally doesn't exist anywhere outside of this game. Now the guns are the main draw, but the rest of the game is good too, or at least serviceable. The map design is pretty good. While it does feel like a few maps are more friendly to snipers than any other kind of gun, they're typically built and designed in a way that makes any gun viable. I've been more or less fine running around with my shotguns and maps that feature these wide open sections, although it is a valid critique to say that some maps are just too big compared to the most quick action. It's a valid critique to say that some maps are too big compared to the most quick action. Oh my god. Although it's a valid critique to say some maps are just too big compared to most quick action shooters like this. It takes a little too long to run around and find someone on bigger maps, especially if the player count's a little bit low. And the better maps are usually more congested, like the jungle, or streamlined, like Nostalgia. Although gameplay is the most important, the maps visually aren't bad. I can't call any of the maps ugly, they all look good enough. I like the clouds under Nostalgia. I admire Oil Rig for its cool looking rough waves underneath the map and the ambient rushing water and wind noises. It's not a game that's meant to be immersive, but it works. And that's pretty much all there is to say. There's a little bit more, but movement. You can't crouch, but you can run around and slide. The gameplay is fast-paced. You can all kill, die, and respawn quickly. Get in, shoot, see how your gun works, die, change some parts, jump back in, and by the time you find a combo you just like using, you can use that combo and dominate the round with it, taking the win for your team to get more money to buy more parts with. It's a good game. Now, it's easy to be a negative Nancy. I'm going to be a little bit of a criticism Carl here. I'm going to note my few nitpicks. First, there are obviously some guns that are missing. They're still adding new guns. The game is being actively updated. It's a semi-new production. But I hope the game focuses on guns that can offer a different gun fantasy. We already have a lot of what you'd expect, but I can feel the absence of some things. We have shotguns, we have fast shotguns, but we're missing a classic double barrel. Big Booma Booma. Put it in. I need it. Or even an Olympia style one-shot bang. These kinds of shotguns are peak, and I really want to mess around with the parts they could bring to the game. Secondly, although I'm aware you can create the closest equivalent of a pistol with the pistol grip, I'd really enjoy seeing a whole sidearm section so it can carry two guns. Let me carry a sniper and a reliable sidearm, or at the very least add some parts. So I can make my 1911, my Glock, my Desert Eagle. I'm really lamenting the lack of revolvers and a proper spinning chamber magazine. The one shotgun thing doesn't count. Finally, visual clarity isn't that big of an issue, but I do wonder if this is the kind of game that would benefit from enemy outlines. maybe try it, beta test it, see if it makes the gameplay smoother or not. It could be worth looking into. It can't hurt to make the difference between ally and enemy easier to understand from a glance, especially when the game removes your hats and notable avatar features, so it's a little hard to tell who's exactly on your team when you're around the corner. Last thing, the art skin box usually has the most superior skins. They all look fantastic. You should do more like these. And I think a textured skin box would be cool too, so it can make our guns look scratched up and weathered for the very few amount of people trying to make something that looks like a functional firearm instead of multicolored mess. That's it. There's a link to the game in the description if you want to play it yourself. Have fun. And thanks for watching.
you have to understand how things are up here.